Candace needs to accept God's chosen people like the rest of us. I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is, you know what? I'm going to use this as my jump off point here. The problem is Candace needs to accept God. We'll just stop right there. She doesn't know who God is. So all the other things pertaining to God's chosen people, his divine revelation, all that stuff gets muddied up because she doesn't know who God is. That's the problem. And that's the issue. She can say to the cows come home. You can't convince me she has a clue what she's talking about when she says, who is God? That's the problem, in my opinion. Am I crazy, Amelia? Do you agree? You can disagree, of course.
I definitely think she's spiritually sick and in need of deliverance of some kind.
No agitation.
I mean, I think that the thing about the Christian faith that is so powerful is this idea of submission to God. Mm-hmm. And I think that when you really look at what the Christian understanding of the devil is, and you move out of that space of, this red pitchfork, false caricature, really, there is an aspect of Satan that is the archetypical narcissist. He wanted to usurp God and be God. And that is how he tempted Eve and so on. And so when we refuse to submit to God or anything, an authority that is higher than ourselves, then we automatically default into the position of becoming God or trying to become our own God. And that the only end stage to that, the only place that can ever end up is narcissism. And, it often starts, sometimes you start off just abusive and crazy. Okay. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times that even just that simple mistake of man to try to be our own God can start off fine. But it progresses. When you reach the end stage of life, it's almost like a cancer that grows. It starts to eat the soul and it turns you black. It turns your soul black and dark. And so it's very spiritually unhealthy. I think she has a lot more than just that going on. I think that's just like baseline how we struggle as humans. Mm-hmm. But since that's where we start, she has like extra demons that she's fighting, I think. And it's a very dark place that she's in, I think.
No, I agree with you 100%. I just think that the overwhelming, if we had to say, okay, where's the majority of her problem? Majority of her problem is that she doesn't know who God is. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't mean that some other things are running amok in there and it's such of that nature, but I think primarily her problem is that she denies the reality of who God is, and she's created one in her own image that is perfectly fine with her behavior. And again, I'm not saying that asking questions is bad. I'm not saying that Candace is demon possessed because she wants to ask questions. That's not what we're saying. But most people, if you're honest, you got to admit she's not just asking questions either. So the issue is not that she's asking questions. The issue is that she is wrong in her approach. She's turned herself into the judge, the jury, and the executioner. And thus she is, because she's not even in that space, she's not in a place to even be able to judge it. I mean, I'm not a pilot. I can't tell a pilot what they're doing is wrong or that they're not doing the right thing. I can't do that. Now I can say, okay, there's some turbulence and maybe a little bumpy, but I can't say that, oh, well, they're doing their job wrong. You can't, because I'm not equipped to do that. And Candace is not equipped to do that either, but she gets all of this extra, she does all these extra things out of a position of, in the wrong position, because she's not in a position to judge.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think the problems for her actually start and get going.
And the interesting thing is she's a normal person. She doesn't have any special skill or talent. She's a normal person who talks to her camera in a room. Now she has a lot better equipment. That camera is much more elaborate, but that's how she started and that's who she is underneath it all. And I think it's just good to remember that. I mean, and now she's married into a very wealthy family, so that also adds a layer of influence and complexity, but
Well, she likes to say that she's not the elite, and she likes to try to separate herself from the elite, which I think is adorable when you see what she wears. Like she wears things that deliberate. I don't know if she's in deliberate or intentionally. Maybe she's unaware of how wearing a $1,400 blouse doesn't make you not elite.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or whatever like that. Like, ma'am, come on now. Let's be so for real. And I just don't think that she's aware. Well, I take that back. I think she is aware. I think she does it on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But if she didn't, I'd be surprised. Like, really?
And that whole narrative that she is just an everyday mom in a basement.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That is just wild. When she said a mom who does a podcast in a basement. She is intentionally manipulating people who still buy that narrative, that she's somehow speaking truth to power when really she is the power.
Absolutely.
But then she doesn't even care enough about her audience to stay consistent with the grift, because she's so vain. She would rather wear the $2,000 shirt because she likes how it makes her look than stay consistent with her audience and stay approachable so that they can actually believe that she's not, a part of the elite with her, husband who's worth, hundreds of millions of dollars, from what I was able to Google, according to Google.
According to the Google. According to Google, absolutely. I know you liked that episode. This is actually a clip from a larger live stream. The link is down in the description, so you can go check it out. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you down there. Grace and peace.